Third and long, sing this song 'cause it's third and long. And now to your hosts, Tony Hunt, Andy Benedict, and Jesse Logan.
I think I just crapped myself when he pulled that shirt out. Oh my.
Sweet shooting. Let me take my shirt off.
Boom. We are good. Hello and welcome back, all you third and long fanatics and all our first ladies of third and long. Can't forget the ladies out there. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is episode 3 of Third and Long. We've got a big show planned for you guys this week. Got a lot of good stuff coming. We're going to cover the mess that is the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to take a look and talk a little college football. We're going to go through a new segment we've coined Stardom Situm. This week we'll be covering fantasy football. We're going to look at a little college basketball preview because it is that time of year again. Thank God for those Kansas fans out there. And you know who I'm talking to. And then, as always, we're going to do our top 10 picks heading into this weekend and a recap of how we did from this past weekend. But before I go any further, I think I need to introduce the two guys there at the bottom of your screen that help me out and make this show possible. So first, I have to start with the man whose name I butchered so badly last week and could probably fill this hour by himself without us, Andy Benedict. Welcome, Andy.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for having us, T. Good to be back, ready to get rolling.
Awesome. And the other guy you guys will see down there, it's not a glare on your screen. That is our third mate on this show.
Baldy.
He can't wait for Kansas football to be over and basketball season to start. And that is Mr. Jesse Logan. Jesse, thank you. Hello.
Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. I take it you boys had a good weekend?
You know it.
Had a good weekend.
Yes.
Action-packed.
What a weekend. Cowboys let us down. A&M had a bye week. Kansas football had about 13 people. That might be a stretch come to their game, but it was a hell of a weekend.
Bye week.
They were always a bye week.
Yeah, what they really need to do is stop showing the aerial views or anytime, if I'm the camera guy or the producer, don't pan out. Keep it on the field. Don't hit any crowd shots at a Kansas football game.
All I have to say is you're welcome, Baylor, for the glorified practice. We're here to help. We're basically a scout team for everybody in the Big 12.
Right, exactly.
Well, for all those Baylor fans watching, go ahead and give us some good comments there at the bottom.
Yeah, perfect. I will tell you guys, this past weekend got an opportunity to go back. We had alumni weekend, UTSA baseball. Got a chance to go back and partake in the football game, and I was wildly impressed with the atmosphere out there for UTSA football. The tailgating scene was on point. Had a lot of fun out there. Game, not so much. Got to clean up a lot there. Might give Kansas a run for their money, might not sure. Would like to see that get put in the works, but did certainly enjoy my time down in San Antonio here this past weekend.
Nice.
Fantastic. Good. Yeah, not too much here. I mean, later round did nothing. It was awesome. Really good.
We got an opportunity on Friday to check out the much heralded Allen High School football stadium.
Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it houses about 17,000 people. And I'll tell you what, it's a $60 million stadium for a high school, which is still mind-boggling. We got to talk about that a little bit. Their band has about 760 people in it. My entire high school had 760 people in it. So, honestly, it's complete culture shock to be in an atmosphere like that for a high school football game. Allen absolutely blew the doors off of, I believe you're an alumnus of Hebron.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Benedict.
Never good.
Allen really dominated them on Friday night. But it was cool to check that atmosphere out for a high school game.
Yeah, if you guys can, go check it out. If you are in the area, go check out that stadium. It is pretty wild. Get there early because parking is just as crazy as it is for a college or an NFL game, which we won't go down that path. Jesse almost got me and my family killed by putting in oncoming traffic. That's a story for another day. So without getting in too deep, we'll keep this show rolling. We're going to go right into, like I said earlier, the mess that is the Dallas Cowboys.
Oof.
And Andy's going to take it from there and hopefully tell us there's some good stuff coming.
I'd like to tell you there was some good things coming. I'm trying to stay optimistic. You're always looking to get better. You're always looking to improve. And, I think what really I'm hoping for in this next coming week is that the Eagles stay hot. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm actually polling for the Eagles to beat the Giants. I guess in the NFL you can end in a tie, so that is possible, but really would help the Cowboys out if the Eagles would go on and beat the Giants here on Monday night. But this past week was definitely a struggle. Kind of a tale of two games, right? We came out, the defense looked phenomenal. We were pressuring the quarterback. We got Tom Brady sacked 5 times. It was the most he'd been knocked down.
Pretty impressive.
It was, they were flying around. Obviously, Hardy's adding to that, right? We got Hardy back. Rolando McClain had a presence in that game. So there's a lot of good things on the defensive side, and we knew reinforcements were coming. Gregory gets back from the high ankle sprain. Now you're really starting to turn the page. Where it really started to go south was we couldn't keep him off the field. So our offense, we turn the ball back over, and we go for 50 yards in the first half, and we're having to put our defense right back out there, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You're not going to sustain a defense that way. You're going to get tired. You don't have enough guys on the 53-man roster to rotate them in and out enough, and you ultimately saw that. And so that brings me to that first point of the offense really struggling. And they came out this week and said that Matt Castle is going to end up starting here once we get out of the bye.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's the right move for the Cowboys right now?
I think if you don't start him, then you're not going to start him. You're rolling with Whedon through this thing because I just don't think they brought him in to be a backup to Brandon Whedon. I really don't. You're coming out of a bye. You have 2 weeks to prepare. He's going to be in this system now over a month. You can scheme plays. You can scheme opportunities for him to have some success. Now, I do think that he will take more risks than Brandon Whedon will, and that's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit, right? So Whedon does not turn the ball over,
right,
or very few, right? So he keeps you close into ball games. But I saw a crazy stat where he completed 5 of 15 passes this past game of yards, 5 yards or more, 5 of 15. So how many dump down passes is he throwing? Right.
You got to challenge people downfield in the NFL if you're going to have any opportunity to win or to keep the defense honest, right?
Yeah, you got to keep the safeties back, right? Otherwise, you're going to notice that they're going to come, they're going to creep in, they're going to start putting 8 in the box, they're going to start bringing in the safeties. Castle's going to give you that, and he's going to give you a chance to have a big play. Now, what we really need to have happen is Terrence Williams. We're kind of finding out that he's a number 2 at best receiver. We're really missing Des Bryant on that. But you use your speed there, and you try and make something happen. And I think that kind of leads me into my second point, right? And one thing I'd really like to see the Cowboys do moving forward is utilize the play-action pass, right? Everybody knows that we're going to come out in a run formation. We're going to be heavy run. Heck, I could script the play. The first play of the game, you watch. When they come out of the bye, the first play of the game's either going to be run right, run left. One or the other, it's going to be that way. You're going to turn around and hand it off. What I really like to see is some start to utilize the play-action pass more. Once those safeties start sucking in, those linebackers start coming up, they're putting 8 in the box, you got to do something to slow them down. Play-action pass is going to be perfect for that. Castle might be able to bring that to us. Or run a little slip screen, run something in behind those rushers. You got it, like you said, Jesse, you got to keep them honest.
Well, that's the next question is, what's the answer at running back right now, too? You have McFadden, you have Randall, you have Christian Michael. What do you do if you're the head coach? What do you do in the backfield for the Dallas Cowboys right now?
I don't know.
You just roll them all out there. You can't. It's not necessarily a running back problem. It's this offensive line, right?
But you're talking about the
Who
same.
would have thought that?
But you're talking about the same offensive line that you were talking about last year, right? So was DeMarco Murray that much of an asset that made the offensive line look good? Or and I will put this out to you.
I think that's part of it. Absolutely, that's part
for sure. Absolutely. And I would love to know your opinion on this. Sticking with the offensive line, without Tony Romo, right? Does Tony Romo make that offensive line look a little better? Right? Sure. And here's this offensive line. You get a guy like Whedon that's back there, doesn't move around in the pocket well, can't buy a lot of time. Is that something where, hey, Tony Romo's his classic spin out, right? Extend the play. Oh, wow. Doesn't get a sack. Offensive line looks great. Jesse, I wish I knew your answer, but I don't have an answer.
Here's my thing. In the NFL, and I heard a college coach say this once, and I think it really resonated with me, and I think it applies to the NFL as well. I feel like there's guys on a team, and then there's dudes, right? Tony Romo, I mean, I hate to admit it, but he's a dude. Like,
sure.
He knows the playbook like the back of his hand. He can check things off of the line. He can stretch the field. He knows what every single player on the field is doing at any given time. DeMarco Murray, he's a dude, right? But these other running backs, Darren McFadden, Joseph Randle, Brandon Whedon, they're guys. So I feel like that whole offensive line, I think they're still pretty solid, but there's no talent in the backfield. So you can't just throw a Brandon Whedon in and expect him to be Tony Romo, and you can't throw Darren McFadden in the backfield and expect him to be DeMarco Murray. It's just not going to be.
Are you saying dude?
Dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who the hell told you that?
I agree, though. I think that's a great point. I think that there are certain guys that make other guys look great, and you can make them Pro Bowl
Andy
players.
a dude or a guy?
I knew. How did I know that was going there, right? How did I know that was going?
I'm gonna walk around looking at people. Are you a dude or a guy? What realm are you in?
What do you bring to this conversation?
You're the next level. You know what I mean?
What are you bringing to me?
You know?
Oh, man.
Yeah. My wife makes a good dinner. You're a dude. Appreciate it.
The head dude.
It's the head dude.
The head dude. Perfect.
Oh, gosh. But I'm just looking at the schedule for the boys, too. I mean, coming off. So when Romo goes down and Dez goes down, if you looked at the schedule from an 8 to a 6 game glance, we needed that Atlanta and New Orleans, because no one knew Atlanta was who they were, right? With what's his name, Freeman running all over the place. But when you're at 14 at home going into half, we needed that win, right? Yep. And then we needed to take that or the New Orleans game, which New Orleans is crap, right? And that you needed to, but I think in the next 4 to 6 games, they've got to squeak out 2, and it's just not looking good. You know what I mean? 2 to 3 wins, and I mean you've got the bye week this week, thank God. Then you've got to go to the Giants, which the Giants they should be an undefeated team right now. So you can't say they're
Eli's rolling
horrible,
yeah.
Right? They're just the Giants. They're just that team that I don't know. They just find a way to win. It looks horrible.
That's a Coughlin MO,
right? And then you got Seattle at home. Then you got the Eagles at home, which they'll either put up 10 or they're going to put up 500 points on you. It's, you know what I mean? And then go to Tampa Bay, go to Miami. Like, where are we going to get wins out of this thing? That's just the scary part. Even if Dez does come back, I don't know.
Somebody's got to get him the ball. You know?
Right.
I mean, it's not like Dez is under.
I mean, Castle, say your prayers, say a Hail Mary, close your eyes, and just wing it downfield.
Yeah, you got 2 things that are working for you, right? You continue to hope that the NFC East loses, right? And you continue to hey, Atlanta, keep beating them up, or they did beat them up. New Orleans, keep beating them up. Obviously, they're going to play each other like we're seeing, and they're going to get wins. But I think the back half of the season does get easier for us. Now, you can't be in a position where you got to rattle off 6 wins in a row when Tony comes back in order to even have a prayer. So you're right. I don't know. There's a couple games out there that we really needed, but you hope that the East keeps losing and keeps us within striking distance.
Well, probably two teams out of the East are going to lose. The Redskins are playing the Jets this weekend. The Jets are at home. They're a 7-point favorite, and their defense has been really solid.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Giants and Eagles are playing. So one of those two teams are going to lose this weekend as well, on Monday night.
Yeah.
So
really hope the Eagles pull that one out. So that
still going to be pretty
keeps the Giants down. But
yeah, needless to say, the future is not looking good for the Dallas Cowboys, not turning out the season that we all had hoped for. I'm sure we could probably do this whole show covering the Cowboys and the downward spiral. But I think that's – I don't want to bring this show down any further, so I think we should probably just close it here. And, oh, God, what is he wearing?
I had to bust it out one last time.
Oh, man.
We can't do it. We can't. I'm sorry. All right, so we're
just keep it moving.
Oh,
keep it moving.
God. So that was our first run at Cowboys Corner. Just derailed. That. God.
Just when you thought you couldn't bring it down any further, I went.
Oh man. Wow. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. All right. Coming up next, I'm going to take you guys into the weekend and to look at a big college football weekend and a preview of the Aggies versus Bama. Alrighty then, here we go. We are going to take a look at what's in store for the college football weekend. It is a big one, needless to say. There are a lot of big games going on for us this weekend in college football.
That's an understatement.
It kicks off Thursday with the soft, but the always crazy Pac-12 as UCLA goes to Stanford. And then Saturday morning, be on the lookout for, I think we overlooked this one, but the Cougars of Houston are 5-0.
I
definitely overlooked that. I know they beat you last weekend, but other than that, I don't know too much about Houston.
They got the new head coach from Ohio State, their old offensive coordinator. Come on, help me out, guys. Here.
No clue.
You guys are horrible. Good Lord.
Tom Herman. He's leading that team. They're 5-0. That offense is really good, and we can see that Ohio State is really struggling without him because they can't seem to figure it out. So be on the look for that. They're playing Tulane. It's not a big game, but be on the look for Houston to make a run at this thing. 5-0. They could run the table and really throw a wrench later on in the season. But then right off the bat, we've got a kind of contender-pretender type deal with Iowa and Northwestern. We found out Northwestern really isn't the contender that we all thought they were, just getting manhandled by Michigan. It was ugly.
So but is that a little bit of a testament on how Michigan is playing too? Right, so you got to look at that one, and we'll find out later on too when Michigan
what a difference
takes on Michigan State. Oh, absolutely, it's a Harbaugh effect.
You bring the khakis in there, and then boom, you have the number one defense in the country.
Gosh, if that's all it took, right? Just bring a little khaki in your life.
And then for once, Baylor is not a 90-point favorite as they host the Mountaineers of West Virginia. That could be interesting, could be not. We'll see. We all thought big hopes for West Virginia with Oklahoma, but they let us down.
Yeah, that's going to be a drumming.
Yeah, spread's only 21.5. It's pretty good.
Do you guys realize Baylor has scored over 60 every game this year except one, and the one game they didn't score over 60, they scored 56. They're throwing points up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a great system. I think as much as it pains for me to say, I think this is the best Baylor team that they've put out on the field since Bryles has been there.
Wow, including the RG3 era, huh?
I think so. Because even with what RG3
most complete.
RG3 took them to an Alamo Bowl?
Right.
They still lost 4 games that year. But I think with this team, they have a more complete defense, even though they've only played, I think they're highest ranked team they've played is like 110. So really not much of a contest there, but they're still averaging 60 a game. They're still only letting these weak opponents score 10, 15 on them. So I think Baylor's legit. If I had to choose right now, I'd go ahead and put them in my Final Four. As much as I hate to say it,
So you're thinking they get past TCU, and there's no other hiccups, right? I mean, I don't think that they survive 2 losses. So if they get past TCU, you know.
And for all the TCU buddies out there, really just one TCU buddy that I know pretty well. I'm sorry. It's gonna be a great game. Yep, he knows what I'm talking about. We'll probably bring him on the show. He said he wants to come on TCU Baylor talk, but I don't think I have a quick button to beep out any bad language, so we may not let him come on. But
so
we'll see. We're really off the rails, trying to bring it back on. But
so who's your Final Four right now, T? So you're putting Baylor in there. Who are your other 3 teams right now if you had to select your Final Four?
Yeah, give me Baylor. I'm really like what they're doing. You guys know where I stand on Baylor, so you know this is really more of a head pick than it is a heart pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's Baylor. What you say.
Just based on their body of work, put Utah in there as well. It's proving that Michigan win was a huge win. And what that Travis Wilson kid's doing, he's throwing for 250, he's running for 100, he's throwing touchdowns, and their defense is stout. And they just find a way to win. I mean, the Cal win wasn't pretty, and it was at home, and they still got a lot of points put on them, but I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think Clemson, I think they finally have a team.
Woo!
They proved it that big Saturday night when they had Notre Dame come in. They shut them down. They stepped up to the plate.
Bring your own guts.
And this might be a different team.
They are going to be Clemsoning this weekend, aren't they?
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
BYOG. Bring your own guts.
And then lastly.
Don't do it.
I think I'd put in Michigan.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
That
I'm
defense
just glad you didn't pick Ohio State. They might get in on default because the Big Ten's down. But
yeah, I don't know, and it makes it interesting with their schedule how they still have to play Michigan State and they still have to play Michigan. Right? They still, which everyone was thinking, well, they're going to run right through them. But now I'm like, well, I don't know. That offense isn't what we thought, really. Right? I mean,
what's the answer there? Yeah, I mean, because Cardale Jones has not looked that impressive. JT Barrett's got a little bit of work. I mean, if you're the head coach for the Buckeye, I mean, if you're Urban Meyer, who do you start at quarterback? I'm going JT Barrett because I feel like he's more equipped for the college game. That's my personal opinion.
But, I mean, I've watched every game but one this year for Ohio State, and I think you stick with Jones just from a team continuity standpoint and just keep – he figured it out in the second half against Maryland. They got it going. The Indiana game on the road, I don't know. I just think you just let him still be the starter until he completely derails, which I don't think he has yet.
Right. I mean, it hasn't completely gone off the rails, but like I said, I mean, it hasn't been that great. And JT Barrett, you have a larger sample size or body of work from last year. And I just think, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Urban Meyer went with Cardale, and he's not willing to go back on that decision. And like I said, I feel like JT Barrett is probably the better dual threat guy. Like, he can run it, he can throw it, he can create a little bit more with his legs. Better equipped for the college game. But
yeah, and then, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott's really picking him up lately.
Right. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's turned it on. So if they get him rolling, I mean, that Maryland game was close until the last 25 minutes, and then they took away, blew away. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I think the quick top 4, playoff picture, this is absolutely really early in college football, which we know anything can change, anything can happen. I mean, Ohio State hosts Penn State this weekend, right? That's the nightcap game. So, I mean, it's a 4-1 Penn State team. I think that loss they had to Temple could just be a fluke early on in the season.
Right.
Hackenberg's figured it out. Their defense is playing well. If they get a couple turnovers early on Jones, they're probably going to be the team to make them pay.
And they beat Indiana 29-7. They beat them convincingly. It really wasn't even a game last weekend. So they're starting to turn things around.
And then again, this could be the weekend that we're waiting for the Ohio State that everyone's been waiting for, and they beat them by 30. Right. I just don't know what this. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't been jumped in the rankings yet, but we'll see.
I think a little bit the quarterback controversy that they have, whatever you want to call it, right? That not coming out and clearly sticking with a guy. You see that down in Houston at the NFL level, right? And as a wide receiver, as a running back, as an offensive line, I want to know who that guy is going out week in and week out. And I want to start forming that relationship with that guy, and I want to start working. And honestly, some of their offensive woes could come from the fact that, hey, we need a guy, you need to stick with them, and we need to get on the same page. We're going to go through some growing pains with that. But I can't – if I was on that team and I was a center, receiver, wide receiver, offense, I'd be getting frustrated at the fact that I don't know who's calling these plays behind me. I'm getting into the huddle with a different voice half the time. So it'll be interesting to see. Ultimately, I think that might end up being their Achilles heel is the fact that they don't have one true starting quarterback.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the big game, the Michigan State game, I think Michigan just still flexes its muscles. If they get a big win here and they shut down Michigan State, you might see them jump into a top 5 situation. Because I mean,
yep.
Whew, man. Hardball.
I mean, they haven't given up a touchdown in 9. Yeah. It's unreal.
Real.
Yeah, and then, I mean, a big game in College Station with Alabama coming to town to take on A&M. It's always scary. It's as comfortable as I am with this team. I'm always nervous about Alabama coming into town. We've got a big chip on our shoulder with the loss last year going into Tuscaloosa, and they beat us 59-0. So you don't think those guys haven't forgot about that. Kyle Allen's really coming into his own. This receiving core is clicking. This running game is doing well. So I think it's going to come down to, can their secondary shut down these receivers? Because we can go 5-6 deep if we need to.
Right.
It's
I think it's part of that. And I think it's part of getting pressure on Jake Coker as well. And you guys definitely have the studs along the defensive line to do that. Myles Garrett, Tony, you and I were talking about this the other day. Myles Garrett, he's on a lot of guys' Heisman lists right now, and rarely do you see that out of a defensive end. I don't think I've seen that since, like, Steve Entman back in the day. So he's been very impressive, 7.5 sacks early on in the year. Like you said, I think it's going to be as much about A&M's defense as it is their offense. And does Kyle Allen have a nickname yet? I'm going to start calling him Cool Hand Kyle with the way he performed against Arkansas. He's been very impressive. I like the way he's playing.
This is the one thing I hate is those stupid names. This might be my rant for next week, but that was once they started giving Kenny Trill, that dude went in the tank. The only thing just leave Johnny Football, let him have his, and just don't worry about everybody else. He's the only one that made it worth anything. But so that's, I mean, big game, College Station. Look for that, 2:30, CBS, nationally televised. I hope they don't embarrass me because I will not do this show again, at least for a week. And then the big one with our boy Fournette, and then the struggles that Florida just came down with Mr. Greer getting suspended for a whole year. That's a struggle there. I mean, that was going to be an awesome game in Baton Rouge. I think it still could be, but it definitely is a leg up to LSU with Florida not having their guy, because that guy is pretty special. So we'll see what they can counter with. If Fournette just has a heyday again, I think the Tigers are just going to run away with it. And then that's it. I think those are the big games, right? And then watch out for Penn State, Ohio State. And I thought USC with Notre Dame would be a good one, but I guess Stark had too many drinks after dark, and he
went there.
He gone. He gone.
Oh, man, kick a guy while he's down.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, that just opened up a vacancy in probably one of the top 3 most sought-after college football head coaching positions in the country.
And we'll see how that team responds. I mean, some of these players have been through that before. USC has been through this before. Lane Kiffin, when he left, so I think they're going to adjust and probably. I mean, you just have to rally around one another in the locker room. So I would not be surprised to see USC and come out and play very hard against Notre Dame. That should actually be a pretty good game, I think.
Yeah, sometimes you're going to come out and play above what you have been playing just because you are rallying around your teams, so.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a huge college football weekend. There's a lot on the line, and we'll probably go over more of that stuff when we go into picks. But I hope you didn't write down my my playoff picture now, because that probably will not be the same as we head into this thing in January. But this is a huge college football weekend for those of you that don't follow too closely. This is the weekend that you might want to follow along, and we'll put our picks and everything out there later on. But if you have any questions, comments about college football, email us, let us know. Coming up next, we are going to take a look into our new Stardom and Situm. This week we're going to be focusing on fantasy football. Stay tuned. So this is a new segment that we have coined. I think Jess came up with this idea. It's going to be called Stardom Situm. This is going to be each week we're going to change it up, and we're going to pick a topic. Andy and Jesse are going to walk you guys through if you should sit them or start them. It's going to range anywhere from fantasy football to, hey, what beer should I drink in the fall and Christmas time? So we got a lot of stuff. I think I'm going to sit this one out. The Rangers just really kicked me in my stomach, so I'm going to just fly by the seat of my pants and watch you guys roll with this. Do not, you SOB. Oh, God.
Just as an example of a quick stardom situm, all right? You want to go ahead and start the St. Arnold Oktoberfest, and you're going to want to sit the Real Ale Oktoberfest, all right, when it comes to cold ones.
Making that transition already, right? Is it too early to kick into the Shiner Cheer, right?
Don't give the... Hey.
All right, that's all it is.
Don't give the people too much on our future shows.
Fair enough.
So you guys, this segment's already off to a bad start. We're
rolling through it. We're gonna kick into some fantasy starts, fantasy sits. Really, what we're trying to hit on. Obviously, you're gonna have the must starts. You're talking about Le'Veon Bell. You're talking about Julio Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are already going to be in your lineup. What we really want to identify or try and hit on are the people that maybe you're on that bubble that you are looking, okay, what kind of matchup do they have? And they're now moving into hey, you want to start this person or this
it's those guys that are in like 50 to 80% owned range where you're like, I don't know what to do here. Somewhere in that.
Yeah, I agree. So kicking off the quarterback position for the start, I'm really rolling with the hot hand, and this should or hopefully doesn't come as much surprise, but Andy Dalton is a fantasy – he is on fire. About? All right? He's leading a lot of fantasy stats.
Number one fantasy quarterback right now, and he's still only – what was the percentage, T? Maybe 80, 85% owned?
Keep talking. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, unless you're in a 4-team league where you can start the top 4 quarterbacks in the league, you have got to be starting this guy. And if he is available on the waiver wire, you need to go and pick him up immediately. He's got a favorable matchup against the Bills, and really his connection with A.J. Green is on point right now. So
and Tyler Eifert.
Oh, and Eifert. Yeah, you can't forget about that. You could add him into a start from the tight end position. But we're jumping ahead. We're not going to do that. Give me your sit-em, Jesse, from quarterback position.
Quarterback position, the guy that a lot of people are starting to jump on this bandwagon right now because he's had 3 consecutive over 300-yard games. He had over 400 yards last week. A lot of people are starting to pick him up. He's one of the most added quarterbacks out there right now, and that's Josh McCown. I never thought I'd say that about a Browns quarterback. And I can also go ahead and eat crow from our first show. What are you thinking? Because McCown has looked really good. But I think you need to go ahead and sit him this week. They're playing the Broncos. A lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon, but I don't think this is the week to start McCown.
And
maybe pick him up.
Quick interrupt. Hey, hang on. Quick interrupt here. Dalton is 78% owned, 42% started via the ESPN Fantasy.
Wow, that's crazy. How many games does he have to put together before you start putting him in there?
One game. He had 25 points against the Legion of Boom last week. That speaks for itself.
Right. Moving
on.
All right, we're going to take a look at the running back position. Now, this one is interesting, right? So Dion Lewis would fall into this category with the Patriots. One that I'm just going to point out the obvious on, if you don't own Freeman from Atlanta, you need to go scoop him up. That offense looks like it is gearing around one player right now. Sure, you have Julio Jones on the outside, but with his injury that you have right now, you don't know what Julio you're going to get in that game. Is he going to go off for 150 and 2 touchdowns, or is he going to be the serviceable guy that draws the double teams, gets you 80 yards, 8 points, 1 touchdown? Let's throw that in there. But they're turning around and giving it straight to Freeman. So I'm starting that guy in every league, no matter who he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-doubter. He's had over 90 fantasy points over the course of the last 3 weeks, so over 30 a week. You aren't getting that kind of production out of anybody, even Le'Veon Bell.
Correct.
So my sit-'em head running back is the entire – I'm sorry I keep picking on the Redskins.
Jeez,
the entire Redskins backfield, all right?
I didn't know this was the crutch segment.
Oh,
damn.
They're playing the Jets defense. That's one of the top 3 run defenses in the NFL. Everybody, got on Matt Jones's bandwagon after he had that big second week. Alfred Morris, was an early round pick. He hasn't really lived up to that billing. And they also have Chris Thompson. So they really have 3 guys in the backfield. You might as well just not go with any of them this week and go with your alternatives.
Perfect. Looking at wide receiver position, everybody is going to tell you DeAndre Hopkins is the player to start.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I 100% agree, right? I think everybody will tell you that. He's playing Jacksonville. He had a huge week last week. Not going to tell you to start him. You're going to be starting him. The one I am going to flip the script and look at a Jacksonville receiver in Allen Robinson. I think that he has a favorable matchup against a ailing Houston defense. Never thought I would say that. But I'm going to pick Robinson as a stardom this week at the wide receiver position.
And I'm going to piggyback off that. If you do not have Allen, or if you do have Allen Hurns and you do not have Robinson, please start Hurns. The boy is hot. He is hot. Just a quick note, his last 3 games, he's gone for 70 and a touchdown, 116 and a touchdown, 116 and a touchdown. So if you don't have Robinson, start the other guy that Bortles will throw to, which is Allen Hurns.
Correct.
Yeah. I think that's a great call-out, just because Allen Robinson is typically drawing the number 1 corner from opposing defenses, and this weekend it's going to be Jonathan Joseph, who is a Pro Bowl-level corner. So that really opens up Allen Hurns. Plus, Julius Thomas was back as well. So that's another weapon for the Jaguars where they can kind of spread things around. For me, the sit-'em is going to be from the Detroit Lions. Don't know what's going on at quarterback for them. Matt Stafford got
not good
for Dan Orlovsky. Dan Orlovsky, all right. I'll go back to the last time he played in 2011. I think it was like Thanksgiving. He ran out of the back of the end zone. He got benched for that guy, okay?
We just didn't know where the end zone was.
Not a good situation. So we don't know who's going to be throwing to their receivers. I almost want to say sit Calvin Johnson. You can't do that, all right? Don't sit Megatron. But I think you do need to sit Golden Tate. It seems like he's frustrated. He's the type of guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. He's not getting a lot of looks. I think you got to sit Golden Tate and go with someone else there.
Yeah, I agree. And that is one thing that we should bring up and ask our viewers out there. I would love to know, off the top of your head, if you can name more than 5 backup quarterbacks in the NFL, right? I had no clue who the backup quarterback was for the Detroit Lions. So if he's throwing him the ball, good luck. All right, staying with the tight end position here. I mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it again this week. We saw him catch a touchdown. Antonio Gates should be owned in every league. I think with the lack of tight end production that you are getting throughout the league, you're going to have the top 5, 6 tight ends that are going to be week in, week out must starts. Antonio Gates just seems to find the end zone. Every week he might catch one pass, but if he's catching that one pass, you got a pretty good shot that it's going to be in the end zone. So I would start Antonio Gates here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's like Rivers really has that connection with Gates. They've been around each other so often. They really play off each other well. For me, my sit-em, I don't know why people are so high on this guy. I mean, he's owned in 65 to 70% of leagues, but it's Zach Ertz. Sit that guy. Go out and find somebody else, maybe like a Derek Carrier even for the Redskins who caught a touchdown.
There's the Redskins again. Good Lord.
Well, I'm saying, like, actually play somebody.
He's a hater today.
Derek Carrier. But Zach Ertz.
Is that a Redskins shirt?
Pass on that guy.
That's a Redskins shirt, isn't it?
No, heck no. So go ahead and sit Zach Ertz.
Perfect. This should come as no surprise from the defensive end. If you're beyond the playing a matchup with this team, right? You don't need to look at who they're playing to make sure that you should start this defense. Denver's defense is playing out of this world. They're keeping Peyton Manning and the offense in this. They're the reason why they're winning. So you're starting Denver Broncos all day long, and probably all season long here until they give us reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why they say the best offense is a good defense. We're seeing that out in Denver right now.
You bet.
For me, I'm going to say sit the Bills defense against the Bengals, even though, I mean, the Bills are at home. We don't know what their quarterback situation is looking like with Tyrod Taylor possibly out with the MCL injury and E.J. Manuel going in there. The Bengals should have the ball early and often against the Bills. So I think you need to sit that vaunted defense. So, I mean, that's sit them against the Bengals for sure.
Perfect, and that is going to kind of wrap up the stardom and sit-em. T, I'm going to kick it back over to you. Let us know what's coming up next year.
Yeah, we're going to take a look into the preview of college basketball, and Jesse's going to give us his way too early top 5. Okay, in the midst of football season, for everyone who loves football, and if you're in Texas, you mainly do, we still have one man who loves the college basketball. And I couldn't even believe that it's time to start talking about that, thinking about this. But here he is. He's going to give you his too early top 5 with Jesse Logan.
Well,
Jay,
welcome to the too early top 5. As we've referenced in previous shows, everyone in Lawrence, Kansas, and most likely the state of Kansas counting down to basketball season just because KU football is terrible, and we probably just need to pack up the program and be done with it. But we had late night in the fog on Friday night. KU basketball should be pretty solid this year, so I'm just going to go right into the too early top 5. So starting out, I'm going to stay in the state of Kansas. They have 2 seniors that are coming back, and it's the Wichita State Wheat Shockers. All right. They're probably going to have 30 wins again this year under head coach Greg Marshall. They're going to get it done because they don't play a lot of high-profile teams throughout the course of the year. But they have I'm going to go out and say this. They have the best backcourt in the country in Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker. Those guys can flat out go. They could go play for any program in the country. So I'm putting them solidly there at number 5. Number 4, I'm going with Mark Turgeon in the Maryland Terrapins.
Yes.
Former A&M head coach Mark Turgeon. So they have Melo Trimble, who's a studded guard, Diamond Stone, who's a 5-star recruit coming in, another kid that stayed around who could have gone to the NBA this year, and Jake Layman. So, and then they also got former Duke product Rasheed Suleiman He went ahead and transferred. He's going to be at Maryland, so they should have a really good squad there in the ACC. And then moving on from there, number 3, North Carolina. They're not even in the ACC anymore. I'm just so used to it. This whole landscape. I saw that look on your face.
I saw you question it, and I was like, I don't think he knows that one.
That's why it's a too early top 5. I don't have my basketball landscape.
You're supposed to be the specialist on this stuff. Benny and I are just shaking our heads like, yeah, you're doing great.
Sure, yeah.
They're in some other conference.
Keep rocking
it. That's all that matters. Maryland's going to be good this year. Number 3, North Carolina, Roy Williams. He's always going to be able to recruit. They have Marcus Page in the backcourt, so they're going to have another good squad this year. They're returning 4 out of their 5 starters from last year, so be on the lookout for them. Going into number 2, defending national champions Duke. They did lose 2 of their best players, but, I mean, it's incredible on how Mike Krzyzewski has been able to recruit here of late. They lost Tyus Jones. They lost a few other players, but they saw a lot of guys step up. Brandon Ingram is going to be really solid as a 5-star recruit. And then also Grayson Allen stepped up there in the NCAA tournament last year. And then, of course, Homer Alert at number 1, preseason, your University of Kansas Jayhawks. Go ahead and represent Perry Ellis.
Whoa, how many shirts? Whoa.
For senior year.
Shirts.
We're going K2, Rock Chalk, number 1. Frank Mason as well. They bring in a couple of 5-stars, too, and Czech Diallo, Carlton Bragg. We also have the sweet shooting Svi Mikhailuk, who's only 18 years old. So be on the lookout for him as well. But KU, number 1, too early top 5, Rock Chalk. And we'll be right back after this with a rundown on how everyone did in picks last week, and then everyone's picks for this week as well. Rock Chalk.
We're moving right along. This has been a little longer show. The Rangers really kind of knocked me out, put me down, so I haven't really been fully into it, but we'll make it. Oh, boy. Okay. And these picks aren't going to do any better because I know what's coming. So, Jesse, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown of how everyone did for last weekend? And if people can tell by my tone, they probably know I did not do well.
Well, it's not going to be pretty, so nice segue, T. Tony finished last week at 5-5, so at least you're right at 500.
That's bowl eligible.
Well, losing record. Second place won Andrew Benedict, who went 8-2. And then I'm going to go ahead and brag because I went 10-0. All right, I did not miss one pick. I'm the best.
You're an idiot.
And that's the second go ahead and pat yourself on the back alert through 3 shows.
Don't mind if I do. So let's see if I can back it up. So we're going to go ahead and go right into this week's pick. So as we typically do, we're going to pick 4 college games, and then each one of you are going to pick an upset special. And then we're going to go through 4 NFL games, and you're all going to pick an upset special in the NFL as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with it. T, you already covered 4 of these games here early on. So the first game we're going to go through is UCLA and Stanford, the Cardinal hosting the Bruins. For me, I'm going to go ahead and go with Stanford in that battle. Tony, who you got?
Yeah, give me the Cardinals at home.
All right. Benny.
Stanford. Even
All
right.
Down. So everybody going with the 7-point favorite Stanford, so going with the chalk so far. Next game we have on the list, Alabama rolls into College Station to take on T's Aggies. So for me, as much as I didn't want to do it, I may have to go with God Bless America and Nick Saban.
Where are you coming up with these shirts? I don't understand what's going on.
I don't think so, America. Not happening. I'm not picking Bama. I'm going A&M at home. Go Aggies.
I think I just crapped myself when he pulled that shirt out. Oh, my. This has been one of the... Just give me the eggs.
All right.
And I don't know if you're going to be happy with me.
I never am.
I know, right? And this is just going to be another reason. I just want to be a little different here, make sure we're changing it up. I am going to take, as Jesse's pointing out, Nick Saban and Alabama to beat your Gig'em Aggies. Now, maybe reverse psychology. Maybe it'll help you out. I'll take a loss in that game. T, you go on and win with A&M.
T's trying to rationalize
We'll take it.
It's whatever.
Oh. So next game on the list, Michigan State rolls in to the big house to take on the Khakis and Jim Harbaugh. Michigan, they're an 8.5-point favorite in that game. For me, I got to go Michigan here. And the only reason everyone talks so much about Michigan State's defense this year, but Michigan is giving up under a touchdown per game. I'm going to repeat that. They're giving up 6.5 points per game through 5 games. Very impressive going with Michigan at home.
Same here. Wolverines. Go blue.
Michigan. I'm digging on the Khakis.
What's that?
The Khakis.
Khakis. All right, next game on the list. Florida going into Death Valley to take on LSU and Leonard Fournette. So for me, I kind of debated. Treon Harris is going to be a quarterback for Florida. Will Greer is out at quarterback, as we all know. Florida has a great defense. LSU hasn't really, shown that they can pass it consistently, but hand the ball to Leonard Fournette. He's going to take you to the promised land going to LSU at home. T.
I think I picked 3 home games so far, so let's keep it going. Give me the Tigers at home.
All right. Going LSU.
And I'm going to actually be different, just to be different. I'm picking Florida. I think they're going to rally around the team. And I think I am not a fan of Florida, so hey, it's a win-win at that point, right? I'll either win the pick or they'll lose, but we're taking Florida.
All right, and now we go to the upset special of the week. For me, there's a lot of games up there with this potential, but one game really stands out to me, and this is a team that's really flying under the radar so far this year. So these are the number 4 and 5 scoring teams in the country. Memphis plays Ole Miss. They're actually hosting Ole Miss this week. So I'm going to take Memphis in this game. They're 5-0 coming into it. I don't think a lot of people have kind of recognized what they've done so far this year. So I'm taking Memphis in the upset, and they're actually like a 10-point underdog in that.
Wow. Whew.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have to stay up late for my upset pick.
Not watching the Pac-12.
Ags really need this team to come through for them, make it a quality win. But look for the Devils of Arizona State to knock off the Utes.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, doctor. All right, and we referenced this team earlier in the show, so I'm hoping that what we said earlier doesn't play a part in this. But I'm actually taking Northwestern over Iowa as my upset special.
Oh, sorry, Northwestern Iowa. That sounds like a snooze fest, but good pick there. And, hey, Iowa, undefeated. No one's talking about them, but Kirk Ferentz is getting the job.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
We shall see.
Really big line on that game, 2.5.
Oh, watch out.
Went the easy route. We'll see.
All right, so now we're going to roll right into the NFL. The first game is going to be the Thursday night game. The Falcons going into the Superdome to play the Saints, who did not look very good against the Eagles last weekend. So for me, the Falcons are the 3.5-point favorite in this, and I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Falcons. Matty Ice, Devontae Freeman. The Saints' defense has not looked good, so we're going Falcons in that one.
Yep, Falcons here. They keep that thing rolling, and they roll right through the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going to go Falcons as well.
All right, keeping it the same across the board. Next game, Panthers against the Seahawks up there in Seattle at CenturyLink Field. The Panthers undefeated so far this year, 4-0, coming off the bye week. They're playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks are the 7-point favorite in that. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Seahawks at home. They're coming off a tough loss to Cincinnati. That defense is still looking stout, and Cam Newton doesn't really have his full complement of weapons, obviously, with Benjamin being out. So I'm going Seahawks there.
Yeah. Just double down for that one for me. I can't pick against. Well, I went with them last week, and Dalton bailed me out, or bailed them out. So let's just go Seattle again. Why not?
All right.
I'm 5-5. What can it hurt? Holy.
Hard to go against Seattle when they're playing at home, so I'm going to take the Seahawks.
All right, keeping it the same there. Next game, Patriots against the Colts. Andrew Luck should be back in the lineup. The Patriots are
Deflategate.
The Patriots are 8-point favorites in that one. I mean, look, they're red hot right now. The Colts, even if Luck comes back in, I mean, Hasselbeck did a great job in fill-in duty for Andrew Luck, but just their defense has really struggled, and that offensive line has not looked very good. And the Patriots seem to just be able to move the ball at will so far this year with all of their weapons. So I'm going Patriots in that one.
Yep, Pat's here.
Pats.
All right, we need some more compelling picks this week. So the next one,
Snooze fest.
Giants. Not too many good matchups if you look at the NFL slate this weekend. The next matchup, Monday night, Giants-Eagles. Eagles are actually 4.5-point favorites in this one. So looking at it, it's hard to tell if the Eagles are starting to turn the corner or not. I mean, Bradford had 2 red zone picks last week, and then he comes back and throws 2 touchdowns. DeMarco Murray was a lot more involved. Ryan Matthews had over 80 yards rushing. But the Giants are starting to turn things around. But, I mean, they may not have all their receivers. Reuben Randall got hurt. Odell Beckham got hurt. So, for me, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles at home on this one.
I will go the other way, and I'm going to take the G-men, not to be confused with the J-men from last week. So I'll take the G-men this week. Give me the Giants on the road.
And I'm hoping that the Eagles can take down Tony's G-men here. I think from a Cowboys perspective, too, you want the Eagles to win. So I'm hoping they win, and I'm thinking they are going to win, and keep that division here as close and tight as possible.
All right, so we're moving on to our last pick here in the NFL, and that's going to be our upset special. So for me, it's a team that has not looked good this year. I would have talked down about them last week, but then they came back and beat my Kansas City Chiefs and moved them to 1-4. But I'm going to have to go with the Bears over the Lions. Cutler, if he's playing, it looks like they might get Alshon Jeffrey back this weekend. The Bears' defense actually looked pretty good against the pass. And we've seen, the dumpster fire that is Detroit right now. So we're going Bears over Lions.
How is Detroit favored in that game?
I don't know.
That
it's
is
shocking.
mind-blowing. So I think I'm going to double down this week. Not this week, but rolling over from last week. Give me the Browns to stay strong at home against Denver.
Browns over Denver.
Oh, wow.
What a shocker.
There's a reason why I'm 5-5, boys. It's a skill.
Perfect.
You go with the Browns, you're bound to be let down. All right?
Hey, wow.
Nice. You just make that up?
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Benny, you're
Brown, flush it
And
down.
I'm going 49ers over Ravens for the upset special. 49ers over Ravens.
Wow, very brave.
Wow, dude is just snoozing
Right.
that city.
Dude loves some
Hey,
Kaepernick.
man, there's a reason why I won 8 games last week, okay? It's a skill.
I mean, it's
Why,
no
because you're
10-0.
proving you're a robot now?
It's no 10-0. That's all I'm saying.
Very true.
Woo! Got it. All right, so that was our quick picks for the weekend. Jess will jot those down, save them. We will post them to the website. Hopefully everyone has taken a look at our website, webpage, whatever Facebook thing that is that Penny is in control of. Also, our email inbox was empty, so please do not forget about it. Please send us an email. We would love to see one, even if it's from you, Grandma. I know you're out there. Please, somebody say hey. We want to make it past 5 episodes. With the pace we're going, we may not. So stick around. We're going to have closing remarks next. I'll be back in a few. Well, boys, this has been an interesting episode. I don't know how to explain it, don't know where to go with it, but we've had fun. We've covered some big stuff. We covered the wild ride that is the Dallas Cowboys so far, the trash that's going on there. We got into a little college football. Our new and exciting, I know everybody was just jumping off the seat of their pants to talk about our stardom sit-em. We'll see if that makes the cut for next week. Hopefully it does. College basketball preview, that was great. Thanks for doing that. And then, as always, our picks for the weekend. Hopefully I can do a little better than 500 leading in. But again, gentlemen, thanks for joining me. It's always a fun ride, even though this week the Rangers put us down, technical difficulties. This is going to be a lot of editing work on my part to make this thing pretty.
Appreciate it as always, T.
Yeah, but it's been fun. You guys be safe out there. And until next time,
Thanks for having us.
adios.
3rd and long.
Holler.
Ooh. Jeez, shit.
What a day.
T's just been in the just debacle. Just. All right.
Fuck.
T
That's
didn't
it.
have his energy today.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
this-
it. We're
I'm
done.
watching this video, and Benny looks like a robot for the last 20 minutes. Like, it's going in and out. I don't know.
We'll see what it does. All right. Well, it's been real. Episode
All right,
3 in the books.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Good stuff, bros.
All right,
Yeah.
boys.
I'll let you guys judge if we need to redo it or not.
All
All
right.
right.
All right, bye.
Holler.
3rd and long, 3rd and long. Sing this song 'cause it's 3rd and